welcome to another video lesson for our course in Practical Research. Our topic for today's session is content analysis. Before we begin our lesson, I'd like first to review what we have discussed in the previous video. The previous topic which we had discussed was our topic on interview. In our lesson regarding interviews, we have elaborated the types of interviews and the purpose of interview. We have also discussed the approaches and steps of doing the interview process and have further stipulated the need to prepare for interviews, such as preparing questionnaires. In our lesson regarding questionnaires, we have talked about the purpose of questionnaires, types of questionnaires, and the advantages and disadvantages of questionnaires. In this lesson, you would be able to learn how to explain the meaning as well as the varied aspects of content analysis. Train your mind to be speculative by asking questions about the lesson. Classify texts for analysis in accordance with theoretically based methods. Compare and contrast content analysis with other qualitative data gathering methods and enumerate the steps in conducting content analysis. Moreover, there are 5 parts in this lesson. We have first defined the meaning of content analysis, cite and explain the approaches to qualitative content analysis, discuss how we categorize and code the words of our data, and enumerate the procedure in doing content analysis. In understanding what content analysis is, we have to define first what it means. You have to note that content analysis is the process where the researcher examines the literature related to his study. In this process, the researcher tries to dissect the essential parts of the data collected from his respondents. In doing this process, there are 3 approaches to set the direction of your analysis. They are the conventional content analysis, directed content analysis, and the summative content analysis. In doing conventional content analysis, the researcher draws categories directly from the data obtained. The researcher employing this technique follows certain steps, such as reading the data repeatedly in order to immerse with the data, highlight words that capture the answers to the research problem, making initial notes from the highlighted words, and coding these words into categories and clusters. Conventional content analysis is generally used with a study design, whose aim is to study a phenomenon. You have to also note that the conventional content analysis is different from the method of grounded theory and phenomenology. While conventional content analysis is slightly similar to these research designs, conventional content analysis, however, does not go beyond to develop a theory or understand of a lived experience. Conventional content analysis merely aims to categorize and cluster from the data. Another approach to content analysis is directed content analysis. The directed content analysis is more structured than the conventional content analysis. Since this approach to content analysis already uses existing categories in examining the data, the researcher using this approach highlights the coded words fit in the existing categories, and when he finds new words that qualify for another category, he then records and evaluates the newly discovered code. The last approach in content analysis is summative content analysis. In this approach, the researcher quantifies specific words that pertain to his research. Moreover, the use of a summative content analysis would essentially go beyond quantifying certain words. The words being quantified is analyzed through its use in a certain context related to the study. Having volumes of data would naturally give the researcher a hard time in extracting salient findings for his research. This is the reason why the research has to categorize the data that he obtained from his respondents. In categorizing the data, the researcher has to dissect the data into units. After dissecting the data into these units, the units are then assigned with codes to identify them. There are 4 units in categorizing the data: the physical unit, syntactical unit, referential unit, and the propositional unit. The physical unit is based on the actual and natural division of texts. on the reading material, such as the separation of parts of a newspaper or book. The syntactical unit is separation of structures of words, sentences, and paragraphs based on the researcher's choice. The referential unit is based on one's values, attitudes, preferences, or priorities. The propositional unit is a breakdown of the text parts to discover concealed inferences. As mentioned earlier, the researcher has to organize the data in order for him to facilitate the extraction of his findings. With this, categorization of the data requires the researcher to code and frame the research data. Simply, coding is giving a unit or a category a sign or symbol, such as a number to represent a unit or class. This facilitates the categorizing of a big number text because instead of repeatedly writing the target structures, one code or symbol may stand for a group of texts. Coding frame, on the other hand, refers to a set of units or categories into which data is divided or distributed. Furthermore, there are two approaches in coding: emergent coding and a priori coding. Emergent coding takes place after the examination of data, while a priori coding takes place before the examination of data. Given there is a priori category being followed by the researcher. There are procedures to content analysis. First, read the text well and jot down the page margins some significant notes about the text. Understand the notes and list them based on the information type they are. Group the listed words based on a certain idea to describe each group. Determine which categories have related or unrelated features and which make up the major and minor category. Find out the similarities between major and minor category. Apply the preceding steps 1 to 5 to every copy or record of texts in case there are several copies or for analysis. Consolidate all categories and examine their relationships. Review the grouping of text to determine the accuracy of categorization. Review the categorization to find out the possibility of further merging or subdividing categories. Make sure that the categorized texts are really the ones needing categorization in the original texts. To review what we have discussed, we have learned the techniques in content analysis, of which comprises 3 methods, such as conventional content analysis, directed content analysis, and summative content analysis. We have also discussed categorization, coding, and the coding frame. That's all for our lesson today. I hope that you have learned from this video lesson. Our next lesson would be analyzing the meaning of data and drawing conclusions. Take care of yourselves and goodbye for now.